Welcome to the Ultimate Sacrifice Show, where combat veterans and Gold Star families have a voice. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third show that we've ever done. And today, we are again very lucky to have yet another savage, barrel-chested airborne ranger, Mr. Colin Lineberger. So, Colin is also a great friend of mine and a brother, and he was a platoon leader down in Bravo Company in 187 in the 10th Mountain, and we ended up deploying together. And he's just an overall great dude. So, Colin, welcome to the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on.
Heck yeah. So, for all our viewers, man, what I want to just start with, and what we've been starting with on the show, is what compelled you to join the Army?
So this is a two-part answer, and one kind of gets a little bit corny. Well, one, I grew up as a military brat. My dad did almost 30 years. He retired as a full bird. So I grew up, connected to the Army in one way, shape, or form, and we moved all over the place. Every 4 years, I was moving somewhere. So it was almost kind of like in my blood type deal. It was almost you remember Forrest Gump, like Lieutenant Dan? He's like, he had someone that lived and died in every single. That's kind of like what my family lineage is like. Everyone served in some way, shape, or form, in one branch or another. So that growing up like that, and then another thing, and this is kind of more of the nature versus nurture part, is one of my dad's duty stations was in England, and I was actually in downtown London when the terrorist attacks happened there in the early 2000s. Yeah, man. I was actually about to. I had a University of Tennessee sweatshirt on, and I was about to get on the Eurostar to go to Paris for a soccer tournament for a little, travel around Europe a little bit. And that's when the explosion started going off. They hit a subway first, and they hit a one of those 2-story red buses. It was like 2 blocks down. I mean, I heard it. It was the first time I'd ever been around anything like that. I could feel the vibrations in my chest. It was craziness, man. And my dad, having been in for 30 years almost, he knew what was going on. He said, "Hey, take that fucking sweatshirt off." So I take my sweatshirt off. And at this point, he was a little bit older gentleman, a little bit overweight, but I never seen that man move so fast. He's like, "Stay on my ass." And he just started moving.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, 14, 15 years old, like trying to keep up with my 55-year-old dad as he's moving his way through this crowd. Right. And he got us in some hotel lobby, man. And that lobby was actually, it was in the Lebanese district of London. I can't remember what it was called, but they used that lobby as a staging point for wounded. So we were sitting in the lobby drinking at the bar while all this was going on. And, the news is on. At first, they thought it was a power outage, and they thought it was an electrical fire, all kinds of stuff like that. And then they started bringing wounded into the hotel lobby, and I started seeing faces. You've seen folks on the back end of IEDs and explosions. And 15 years old, that's what I was looking at. And then once I realized what that was, I was like, that can't happen ever again. Obviously it has, but that's the mindset you have when you're younger. You're like, I want to be a part of stopping that from happening. So that was a driving factor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, dude, let me just say real fast for our viewers too. That's actually a really extraordinary story, though. I want to tell you that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before. But for our viewers, so when I left the 173rd, I went to the 10th Mountain, and I ended up deploying with them. But I honestly, I think back, and the 173rd, obviously that was my lineage. That's where I came from. And on our first show, I spoke about, and I've talked to you about this, and I spoke about kind of everyone defaults to where they started just because that's what ingrains you and molds you. But when I got to the 10th Mountain, I would say pound for pound, we honest to God had some of the best lieutenants I've ever seen. We had a crop of just studs, man. We really did.
I could not agree more. So you have, you look at the Army, and everyone has, you have your traditional big three. You have 82nd, 101st, and 10th Mountain. And at least when I was coming up through, my initial Army officer training, that's where everyone wanted to go. People wanted to go to 173rd because of Italy and because everyone had seen, Restrepo. Right. But exactly right. So they only have so many slots. Everyone and their mother wants to go there because the what y'all went through in the Cornwall, that was what we grew up watching. And that's what, what we wanted to do. But like you said, it's small unit, not many slots. So the default is 82nd, 101st, 10th Mountain. I actually had orders to go to a unit in Germany. But once I looked at the pass chart and I saw 10th Mountain was going to go around the time frame I was supposed to get up there after Ranger School, and I traded orders with some cat because I wanted to go get some, dude. I wanted to go get after it, So he went to Germany and found himself a little German wife and did his thing, and then I deployed to Afghanistan 6 weeks after getting there. But I could not agree with you more, man. That year group that plus or minus 3 years on either side, the officers that were at 10th Mountain, absolutely exceptional.
Yeah. You know what was the best about them is because I was only like a sergeant when I worked my way up to a sergeant in the 173rd, and then I was kind of like on the verge of going on the board, becoming a staff sergeant, but I went to the 10th Mountain prior to that happening. So I got to see I got to interact a lot with the entry level officers to an extent, but once I got to 10th Mountain was when I really got to see it explode. And just when I'm comparing, I had face to face, so squad leader, platoon sergeant, whole line. But when I start comparing, because the 173rd, you're right, dude. And I remember when I got orders for the 173rd, and this was straight out of basic, and then I went to airborne school. So I got orders for the 173rd, and I remember the staff sergeant looking at me like, "You lucky piece of," and I was like, "What is this guy talking about?" He's like, "You have no idea what you just got." He was like, "We have been trying." He's like, "I've been trying for a decade in my career now to get there." And I got there. Now that I'm gone, and now that I've been out for so long, I look back like, holy crap, man.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's luck of the draw, but now it's almost like a recruiting factory over there. They literally, I remember Holochenko from the scout platoon, he went, but I know some other people who weren't selected to go, and they're really stringent, man. But it's cool. So fast forwarding, and then I'm going to let you spiel off to the 10th Mountain. Just you and let's say the crop of the 5 to 10 LTs, and then some of the XOs too, who used to be the LTs, I would say are second to none, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I think everyone that was, you have your strategic, your operational, your tactical level. I would say all the leaders at the tactical level, company and below, dude, I would go to war tomorrow with those dudes. I don't know. I didn't talk to any of them before I came on here, so I don't want to drop names or anything like that. But some of the guys, just the competence, the aggressiveness, it was default aggressive. Let's get some. And usually you have maybe one or two of those guys in your unit, but somehow the planets aligned, man. And we got lucky, and we had just default aggressive from the bottom up. And we were, when you go to a CTC rotation, you're not supposed to win. Well, 187 and Bravo Company, we freaking won. Right. So that doesn't happen, but we did. So I think that's a testament, and not only the officers, bro. You, Joe Larson, Lutz, some of the officers, Keaton, Sergeant Haynes, dude,
there was,
God,
dude, it doesn't. Yes. I mean,
JC,
honestly,
Callahan, everywhere you look, man, you got combat experience, you have tactical prowess, you got dudes that have been there, done that. And as a young lieutenant, when you walk in and you have a guy with 5 deployments who's like, "Hey, sir, this is what we need to do, and this is why we need to do it," and then you are humble enough to embody that and listen and grow from that, dude. That's when when you start shaking and baking. So it was awesome.
No, it was, man. And what I wanted to say prior to is that and you kind of touched on it. I've never seen such receptiveness from officers, because when you're a lieutenant coming into a unit and you get there, it's weird, it's awkward, you're just starting to learn the stuff, and it's the same thing when you come in brand new as anyone really. But what I found was that they literally listened, and sometimes, unfortunately, on both sides of the house, you don't find that. It's like having a bad platoon sergeant too. It's really hard, man, or someone that just doesn't want to take that tactical experience and advice. And that's one thing that you guys did. And obviously I think it helped excel everyone, but I don't want to steal the thunder, man. This is your show. So the floor is yours. I mean, we could hit points of service, deployments, man. Let's just have at it.
All right. So just to, I mean, we can reiterate one more time or touch on one more time. We did have a solid group of young officers, but we all did make our mistakes and growing pains, so I like to think back on the more humorous ones, I don't really know how to lead into it, man. But, and so prior to this moment right here, I've told 4 people this story. So I don't know how many are going to hear this, but don't worry, it's everything's legal. So, but yeah. So just we're touching on young leaders in the military, and just for everyone's knowledge, that's all the experience I have. I was medically retired as a captain. I got hurt, so everything I've done in the military in 8 years was at the tactical level. So I can't talk anything above that. But you have your oh shit moments when you first get in the Army. You come out of, you do infantry school and you do, Ranger school and you do airborne school and you're like, oh, I'm hard. and then you get to Fort Drum, like, hey, we're leaving in 2 weeks. Like, okay, you deploy in 2 weeks. My first 2 days in Afghanistan, man. My first counseling with the battalion commander, he sat me down. My counseling was this: hey, don't fuck up or you're fired. All right, sir. Thanks. Like, that's God. It. Like, no guidance, just like, don't fuck up or you're fired. Okay, cool. I'm walking out the guy's door, man. Yeah, you know exactly who that is. Yep. And this is I've been in Afghanistan, I don't know, 48 hours. And this is at Andar before I got down to no, I'm sorry, this is at this is at Andar. No, I'm sorry. Where was the battalion at? Battalion headquarters. That deployment we were.
That was Warrior? Down Highway 1, right?
Yeah, okay. So we were at Warrior. Okay.
That was HQ, yeah.
Yeah, so I was at Warrior before I got down to Andar. And that's where I got my counseling. I walk out that guy's door, and my welcome to Afghanistan moment was there was a chubby dude who was like doing PT out in the dirt, and the Taliban started shooting disco rounds at the PTIDs, right? So it started like raining. And I'm like,
oh my
and
God.
the dude got shot in his love handle. I don't know if you remember this. Yeah.
Everyone's listen. We're not laughing because he got shot. It's just a funny story.
No, yeah. No, he's okay. He's okay. The only reason why we're laughing is because he's okay.
He is.
Yeah. And the other reason why we're laughing is young, stupid Lieutenant Lineberger is standing there watching it rain bullets and watching this dude's love handle get shot off. And I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Oh, yeah.
This is like 48 hours in, man. So that was one. That was like, that's when I was like, okay, this is real. All right, I need to pay attention. I need to learn.
Yeah.
And this goes back to, being humble and being willing to learn. Cause that's, you get thrown to the deep end on day one and you better listen to the lifeguard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And your platoon sergeant and your NCOs are your lifeguards. Yeah. So they were keeping me afloat. And then, I don't know, 2 days later, so now 96 hours into Afghanistan, we go out on a little night patrol. Nothing far, nothing crazy. I did not have batteries in my knots.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
So I'm walking around Afghanistan, but I don't want to tell anybody, right? So because I don't want to be the stupid lieutenant, right? So I'm pretending like I can see everything. Like, hey, sir, you see that? I'm like, oh yeah, I see that. I don't see shit, dude. I can't see a damn thing, bro. I'm tripping over rocks. Like, hey, are you okay, sir? I'm like, yeah, man, new boots. Dude. I'm telling you. All right, so now the world knows. I've been holding that in here for so long. Awesome. Hey, dude, the monkey's off my back. I feel good now. But yeah, hey, counsel me. You know what I'm saying? Someone can kick me out of the Army. It's all good. But it buffed out. Luckily, nothing happened. Luckily, no one. But lesson learned. I never forgot. I got batteries in my pocket right now, bro. So we're good.
Oh my God, man, that's great. That's so funny. No, I mean, listen, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah. So when you come through as an officer, you do an ROTC program or you're at a West Point or so on and so forth. You have your bachelor's, and you come in and there is this I don't even know what to call it. Like it's this overwhelming like guise of command authority, like automatically that you and I guess like your presence, like you want to project that on the guys. You want to project your confidence. But at the end of the day, man, like if you've only been in, you deployed 6 weeks later, you've only been in for, not even a year, probably 6 months plus. That crap's going to happen. And it happens to everyone, man. And it happens even when you give a decade of experience. That's too funny.
Well, man, I understand the system. I get it. But like you're putting a 22, 23-year-old cat who's been in the Army for 7 months in charge of 35 dudes. Yeah, man. And you're downrange and you're getting in firefights. And you're like, dude, it's kind of like being a parent. Like you can never really be prepared for it. You just do the best you can, so. Of
course. I mean, dude, listen. And that's why, you encapsulate and you surround yourself with, like-minded, goal-oriented success seekers. And luckily we had a bunch of them. And you rely on other people, dude. I honest to God, like I learned so much from just bottom level privates than they would ever believe. No one will believe me if I told a private that, but you really do, man. Those are the guys who are studying. And if you have really good ones that are trained really well, and obviously NCOs, then as the platoon leader and even the platoon sergeant, your job can be very, very easy.
Oh, you just leverage the talent you have. That's all. It's talent management, dude. That's all it is. But I mean, to your point, like we were in, right? I was the officer. You had the same degree I had. Like we just went through different paths, And do you remember Garcia Skew, Benjamin Garcia?
Yes,
Filipino cat?
Of course. Yeah.
So he's a multi-millionaire who owns 2 Land Rovers and owns a jewelry business, but decides to serve because he has a higher calling. And like somehow right, Manny Pacquiao's training, like he's on his team, right? And he speaks like 4 languages, man. And he drives a different whip to work every day. And somehow, I'm supposed to be like, counsel this guy. I'm like, bro, he's a success story. Like, what do you mean?
He's gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah. So, but that's exactly to your point, though, man. Is you if you're humble and you keep your mouth shut and you learn and you can leverage the talent around you and learn things that you never expected. Like, you don't have to be the subject matter expert in every facet of everything. What you need to do is you need to empower your junior leaders and everyone around you. And that's how the team is cohesive, and that's how you accomplish your mission. And I think we did a good job of that up there.
Oh, without a doubt, across the board. I saw that in every company doing a great job. And, I will say that, listen, we're going to have a bunch of, other 10th Mountain guys and a bunch of your buddies, man, a bunch of lieutenants, captains, and up the pipeline on this show. So they'll be able to come out and acknowledge all these points, man. But
damn, dude, I hope they don't hear that nod story. No one knew that.
Dude, this is what it's all about, man. Like, this doesn't have to have one direction. This show, this show's got, it's multifaceted. It's got all kinds of directions. Listen, I can come on myself one time too, but I'm not here to do that, but I can do it. And I can tell you stories that will make you cry. You'll laugh so hard, man, about just the absolute asinine crap that I used to do. Yeah. And it still happens when you're, upper rank at NCO or officer. It just happens, man, but it's all good. And that's why we're here, man. It's a sit down. It's good times.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother.
But dude, I know that you eventually moved over to Andor.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Moved down with you guys. Yep.
And dude, let's chat a little bit about that, man.
Okay. So here's another stupid story. So trying to get to Andor was a pain in the ass. Obviously I've never been to Afghanistan before in my life. No, hey, you ride this helicopter to this fob, you ride this helicopter to this fob, you ride this one to this fob, and eventually you just ask for Andor and you'll get there. I'm like, all right, dude. So I'm helicopter hopping to try to get to Andor. And it took like 3 days because I missed one helicopter landed as another one took off. I'm like, oh, that was your bird, dude. I was like, so I have to now I'm sleeping on the floor of like a chow hall for like 3 days because they don't have any transient barracks. And they're like, hey, the next bird coming through is in like 3 days. So I'm just like, so my life for those 3 days was like walking from the chow hall to the fucking porta potties and back. That was it, dude.
It's miserable.
Oh my God. like just waiting to, and then plus you got all the anxiety and stuff.
Your video cut out, bud. You're good.
We're back.
Yeah, you're back, buddy. We can still hear you.
Okay. You have all the anxiety and stuff. You're thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a platoon leader. Like, what do I do? What's this going to be like? So you're worried about that. But now I'm sleeping on the floor next to some like, there's an E4 that's like managing the chow hall, like, kicking me out of there. Hey, they have, you got to leave. We got to serve breakfast. I'm like, where the fuck do I go? So yeah. So that, it was a pain in the ass to get there. We eventually did. And then I got down there and I hopped in a like little gator. They picked me up off the airfield in a little green gator.
Yep.
And they drove me to meet Sergeant Lutz, and Sergeant Lutz and Sergeant Haynes were lifting.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were just like, like roided out.
Two hilarious dudes to meet day one.
Day one, funny dudes who also enjoy messing with their lieutenants, right? So
1,000%.
Dude. So I pulled up, and at this point, because when you get out of Ranger school, you gain, your body's in like crazy metabolic state, right? So I gained all this weight. So I was kind of chunky. I got down to like 155 in Ranger school, and I was like started at like 175, and then I gained it all back, but in the wrong way. And so they were looking at me and they were like, "You're kind of beefy, sir." I'm like, "Damn, dude." So that was day one, but it's all in good fun, and then I sat down and talked to Sergeant Lutz. I was like, "Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need you to show me what I'm doing."
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, "Here's this, you do your little counseling. Here's your piece." Like, I was like, "Don't even read this. Just sign it, dude. And just like, please teach me." And then and I just listened. I just followed him around. I listened. We developed a good relationship, and that was my first platoon sergeant. That was my first experience. Like, initially, it was unique because most folks get to do a train up before deployment, with their unit. You kind of build that teamwork, that cohesion. I didn't get to do that. You guys had been down range for like 6 weeks before I got there. A little bit, maybe closer to 2 months. So I missed all the train ups. So I just showed up and like, "Here's your platoon, dude. Like, sink or swim." So, I mean, it was unique. It was unique.
You came when Weidman did, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when Weidman came down to our platoon. I'll tell that story another time, but But first of all, Ben is the man. I love that dude.
I love Ben. He's a savage.
Me and him, he was my boy. We were peas in a pod, and I feel like that's kind of how you became with all the dudes in your platoon too.
Yeah.
And we saw that very quick, man. But all the points you're bringing up is like, it's a reason why. Because even when I just had JC on and on show 2, and we were talking about like, we became really good friends. And the thing is that like, you guys can mess around and do silly crap all you want. But when the time came, you just laid down the damn law, man. Like, you just got down to business. And that's really, those are the memories I remember from 10th Mountain and all of you guys.
I think everyone had that level of just like default professionalism, was like, "Hey, we can fuck around and we can joke but dude, it's game time." And so everyone just kind of snaps into like, "I'm a soldier. All right, let's do this. We'll joke after," and I think everyone also like, they just liked to get after it, so it was like, "All right, hey, joking time's over. Like, let's go get some," and so that's what we did. When you get lucky and you get a group of guys who can cut up and kind of create that brotherhood, but then, when the time comes, flip a switch and like, you're at it. That's a dangerous group of men. And that's what we had going.
Yeah. I was talking with an old SF guy the other day, and we were kind of just collaborating back and forth. And he brought up a solid point. Like, we're one of the baddest generations to ever live and to ever deploy. And when Afghanistan and Iraq too, but specifically Afghanistan, that's what we're talking about right now. When everything's said and done in the history books, America, we haven't really seen a war like this with this type of capabilities ever, and this type of terrain. Just in totality. again, we'll elaborate on that a little more, but, almost 80% of troops saw combat in whatever capacity or facet that may be. But we've never seen that. And America's also never seen, unfortunately. So unfortunately, a lot of men come home in, caskets with flags draped over them. America is kind of used to that, which is such a sad statement to say, but it is what it is. They're not used to seeing women. And a lot of that happened in Afghanistan. But anyway, moving on. We will touch on that in later shows. Moving on, man. I think that whole deployment was hilarious and awesome. There is something, and I understand if you don't want to get deep into it, man, but there is something that happened on Andor. When we came in, I think we came in with about 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks left. And it was, I want to say it was like day 1 or 2 when we showed up. I'm going to let you touch on it, man, if you want to, but that was a grim freaking day.
Is this Maddox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, that day sucked. You guys had just gotten there. We were getting ready to pack up Andor and head back to Bagram in that ballpark. I think, were we retrograding yet or maybe not yet?
Say that again?
Were we retrograding yet or we were not getting there yet? I can't remember if we were.
We came in, yes. So you were.
You guys left Banda Sarde, right?
You were like a quarter done.
Okay.
And then we came in to kind of finish the job, to help.
Okay. Yeah, so I was in the office, just doing some paperwork, doing some OERs and writing up a little sit rep. And all of a sudden, I mean, this boom that you just felt in your guts, like woof, and you kind of, I don't know if people know, but the overpressure, like that's what hurts folks. And that overpressure, you can feel it, even no matter how far you are away, you can kind of feel that shake. We got that in one of the offices, and then we heard the explosion. I was like, we went to default mode. We thought we were under attack, as per SOP, as per normal. We thought we were going to go shoot at some bad guys. But when I stepped out of the office, I saw a huge, I don't want to say mushroom cloud, but just a billowing black smoke from 100 meters away, maybe not even that far. And it was close enough that I knew that it was on the FOB. So I went over to the TOC, and the TOC had remember those little cameras in it? They had the RAID cameras in it, so I could see what was going on. And I saw what we assumed was one of two things happened. Either an enemy indirect had hit our fuel blivets, or an IED or a VBID had gone off and hit the fuel blivets. So immediately you're like, oh shit, who was over there? Did we have anyone over there? We didn't know right away. And then also you have you want to respond, but you have to be careful because there's secondary explosions, there's fuels involved. So we kind of proceeded with caution. So we started moving over there, and when I start getting closer to it, I hear not scream, yelling. So I kind of speed up a little bit. And then when I get over there, I see a few things going on concurrently. One, I see Maddox. He's on the ground, but he has someone on top of him. Mm-hmm. One of my soldiers, he was Private First Class BA, was the first to respond to the situation. And Maddox had been engulfed in flames. And BA basically laid on top of him and put the flames out with his own body, drug him away, laid on top of him, and kind of smothered the flames. And if I remember correctly, BA had 320 rounds across. He had a belt across his kit, and he was scared those were going to start cooking off because he's literally laying on a person that's on fire.
Yep.
So he slings that belt and lays on Maddox, and by this time, other people are getting over there. And now I have a radio. I start calling to the TOC and giving them information so they can call a 9-line in. And I'm trying to stay calm, stay on the radio, relay information. I still don't know how many folks are involved in this. I see one, right? Two now that because I can see BA is burned. He had real bad burns around his neck, around his wrists. So then we pick up Maddox and we start moving him away from the fire. And this thing was so hot, man. I watched the heel of his boot melt off you know?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my God,
his,
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. His weapon was melted. It was just a crazy, crazy, crazy day.
Yeah.
And they did eventually get the bird in. We did eventually get him on the bird. Part of me thought he was going to live because he was.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what he was saying, but he was talking.
No.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, maybe he might. But then sadly, we got a call 2 days later that he expired due to inhalation in Longstuhl, Germany. So that was a dark day, man.
Yeah. It's a fucking shame, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
but I will, maybe we can get to that here in a minute, but if we can at some point talk about VA and what he did last year with that ride. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we can, man. And I think he would be cool with us talking about him right here. There's a bunch of other guys. I'm not going to name any names. We were like probably 30 to 40 seconds behind you, but yes. Yeah. So 100%, man. We'll ask some of those guys if they want to come on too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously this is skipping forward quite a few years, and Kyle, if you're mad at me for this, dude, I'm sorry, but I love you. And he doesn't live the kind of life where he wants to be known or talked about or anything like that. But like, one is the bravest thing I ever seen in my life. One, to do what you did in that moment, I'll never forget that. Two, just so everyone knows, this is how awesome Kyle is. And if you're mad, Kyle, I don't give a shit, dude. It's all good. Come fight me.
We love you,
man. So Kyle, in memory of Maddox, Kyle's from Maine. Oh no, I'm sorry, New Hampshire or Maine, somewhere in New England. And in memory of Maddox, he wanted to ride a bike from New England all the way down to, I believe it's Beaumont, Texas, in that area, which is where Maddox is buried. So
yeah,
Kyle plotted this route out, and he started a social media group. And one day, he just started riding. And when he got into Pennsylvania, he called me. He's like, "Hey, I want to," because all of our buddies were following this, right? Everyone's like following him on social media, be like, "Go, dude, go!" Right? And so he called me and said, "Hey, I want to stop by and see you, and I want to surprise all of our old boys. Like, I want them to, one day they're going to see a picture of us." I was like, "Oh, dude, awesome, cool. Give me a call." So he gets into town and gives me a call. I go meet him, and we go out to dinner. And I got to feed this dude because he's been burning 8,000 calories a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "Bro, eat everything that you can eat. It's on me."
And it's not like this dude had like a brand new Cannondale racing road bike.
No. Yeah. Kyle probably bought this at a garage somewhere. I was like, "All right, this is good enough." This is the kind of dude he is, But he's there, and I see his bike, and I'm like, "Dude, no," right? And the stars aligned again. It's the big airborne rangers in the sky looking out for folks. I had just bought a bike because I wanted to get into biking. I just bought one, and I was like, "Dude, I'm not going to use this. I got 3 kids. Like, I got jiu-jitsu and soccer practice, and I got it's like, I'm not going to. I just bought this because I'm an idiot, right? Like, dude, you need to have this." And he did. He finished. I don't know if he finished the ride. I hope he did. No, he finished the ride. I mean, with the bike I gave him. I'm not sure if it lasts because he was putting miles down, man. But yeah, he was able to. He took that bike and he rode, and I gave him some patches, and they did an awesome thing when they got to Max's grave. They put some patches on there from all the boys. A couple of the guys met him down there, and it was really like that right there is a testament to like the brotherhood. Like, who does that? Who rides halfway across the country? Like
no one besides
right?
him at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a certain kind of human being to do the things that we willfully went and did. It takes another human being, an extra special human being, to then be like, "I'm not done." And then like, "Hey, just out of love for my brother, I'm going to put myself through 3 months or 2 months or however long it took him to do it of physical torture just so I can go say, and maybe get some closure." And that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So,
yeah, man, that's the big thing is the closure part.
Yeah.
And, dude, that's such an amazing story. Dude's an awesome dude. And
Awesome dude.
Too.
Yeah, he is. He's a savage, but
oh my God, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But dude, that is one of the most incredible things. I remember he was doing that. And yeah, you're right. Like, and you obviously you guys worked directly with him, or he worked directly for you, essentially. But
yeah.
We obviously all knew him too. We're in the same exact company at the time. And I think there's just never ending heroism displayed. And that just the fact that, let's circle back to the Maddox thing, like the fact that occurred. And let's say someone is outside in that type of situation. And I'm not going to elaborate on exactly what it was, but I don't see anyone doing anything even close to what he did on that day.
No, it takes
and that, yeah. And dude, they weren't even in the same, there were boys, they weren't even in the same, company. Really, he was attached. Maddox was attached to us. Same company, same platoon, same team, nothing. I mean, that is literally the brotherhood that people don't understand. And for all and I said this to JC, for all the troops and the soldiers that were under us and under you, like they need to know that. Yeah. Like that's I know for a fact that you would have done the same thing for a brand new freaking private that came in your platoon a day ago. And he would have done the same for you.
And that's kind of that goes back to what I was getting at. Like it takes a special kind of, dude, we've been at war for how long? How long were you in Afghanistan before the recent, I'll stay off that, pull out. But, you have you have a plethora of combat experience. It's a volunteer force. Everyone. So like, this is not, you didn't sign up to get your dental care and then all of a sudden the country goes to war. No, we've been at war and you knew that and you signed up going to do that. That takes a special person. And that same kind of person is the kind of person that will jump on you, and do what BA did for Maddox. Like I'll say this. You don't want your Boy Scouts fighting your wars for you, but those guys that also aren't the Boy Scouts, those are the dudes that you want in the foxhole next to you. That's what you need. And those are the guys those are your ride or dies, man. And it's kind of like, Maddox didn't have to be in my platoon or whatever. It's kind of like, you play, let's think of them like, I don't know, University of Alabama, successful college football team. Sure. You can tell me that the cornerback is not homies with the offensive tackle. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't, different sides of the ball, whatever. Like they, same team, different, but they still wear the same uniform. Right. Yeah. So, that's a poor analogy, but
No, it's really not, though. I mean, well, in context, I guess, but yeah, 100%. I understand, man. And, it's not about America and the national audience that it's going to watch this or the world, whatever. It's just about, listen, we're elevating everyone right now. And that's the whole reason for this show, man. And we need to elevate, not only you who obviously this is your time on the show, but yeah, man, that's it. And, that's the default that I see is everyone starts to elevate all of the guys they knew. It's awesome, man. And you're doing the same thing. You've been doing it the whole show. I'm going to let you keep going on, man. If there's anything you want to touch on, brotherhood you built with anyone in the military, anything about, the continuing time in Afghanistan, I think Maddox kind of circles that was the end state essentially, but eventually move on to, how you eventually became successful when you exited the military and overcoming any type of adversity.
Okay. So get home from Afghanistan, a little bit more time at Fort Drum, and then, the Army does, and people start PCS and then go in their separate ways. Unless the Army's attempt at, spreading out leadership and experience throughout the force, but, back to the brotherhood point, though, even when you leave, like you and I haven't physically seen each other for quite a few years, right? Oh, yeah. But we catch up. Yeah, right? We catch up. We stay up. We're doing this right now. Like, you're my brother. If you call me tomorrow, I'm like, hey, dude, I can't tell you what we're going to do, or I can't tell you where we're going, but like someone needs to get hurt. I'm like, I'll be right there, man.
Let's get it done.
Let's get it. And that's, that brotherhood permeates time and space. So when you leave and you move on, like those ties stay with you. I can't tell you how many times I've written a letter of recommendation or talked to some police academy in Sacramento, California, because someone's applying for some job, or I helped someone get into trumpet school or like band.
Wow.
You're right. Like, yeah. I won't say his name because I don't want him to catch too much shit, but he went to college and played the trumpet. Yeah. He got a full ride though. So whatever,
Nice.
Yeah. But,
cool.
Yeah. So I moved on with my military career. I did a few more things. Eventually I started getting kind of itchy again. And I wanted to, try and dabble in the special operations world. Went through a selection process, got picked up, PCS down to Fort Bragg. Was in a Q course. And then, the Q course takes, anywhere from 16 to 24 months to complete in totality, based upon how fast it's a bunch of little tiny schools in a big school. So based upon how, quick you can get all your little schools done. Sometimes there's a 2-week break. Sometimes there's a month break. Just depends. I was in language school, which is like one of the final events, and I had a catastrophic knee injury. I had 4 knee surgeries in 18 months. I don't have a meniscus or a medial meniscus or an ACL. And they put a little metal rod in my tibia, and they're like, dude, you can't jump, you can't ruck, so I got my little blue ID card, and I was medically retired, sadly to say, which is, if you want to talk about adversity, that was the darkest period. Well, I'll say that was the second darkest period of my life. Because you don't put, 18 months into a school just to be told, like, hey, dude, you're broken, And I did not transition well, man. I did not have a backup plan. I thought I was going to do the Army thing for however long, So all of a sudden I'm looking at the time I had a wife and, at the time 2 kids. And like, hey, well, how am I going to put food on the table? Like, I don't have a backup plan. Like my degree is in criminal justice, and I had no aspirations to do anything in that field personally. So I didn't know what I was going to do. So, but luckily, they call them JMOs, junior military officers, are a hot commodity in the corporate world, right? They are all the things that we just talked about. They like all the plans and processes and procedures and the motivation and initiative. They like that stuff. So I got recruited through a JMO headhunting company, and they put me in a medical sales job, and I did that for like 2 months, and until a middle-aged, overworked, overtired head nurse was like super rude to me, and I was like, I can't do this. You can't go from a world where you're surrounded by alpha males and like you kind of have the final word in an argument because that's just the way the Army works. And now I'm arguing with this lady who just doesn't even want to see me. I'm like, I can't do this, right? so I went through it. That was a dark time, man. That really sucked. I was kind of listless, I took a job at a bourbon distillery for a little bit. That sucked. Eventually I was like, hey, I really miss the Army. I miss the people. I miss that feeling. So I started looking at, working for the Army, but as a civilian. And I fell into a job that I really, really love that I'm doing now. I get to work with soldiers every day. I work, on a military installation, and it's a familiar language to me. It's a little bit less money than I would make in the corporate world, but I don't give a shit because I'm happy. So all that to say is, life throws curveballs, man. Backup plans and tertiary and alternate plans. Like, I mean, you gotta. It never really just falls into place like it should. So, but you just keep moving and things kind of buff out.
Yeah. No, 100%. I don't think you're alone in that mix and that feeling too of not having a backup plan, because dude, you invested so much time into wanting to excel, not only for yourself, but because everyone wants to excel for themselves.
Yeah.
But in the military. And that's freaking hard, man. Like 18 damn months. And you're in language school or going to it or whatever, but Jesus Christ, man. I think the last time I read a story of adversity like that was Goggins' book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He went through like 75 times and then he finally got it done.
Yeah.
But that's nuts, man. Oh my God, dude. But
I
think it is a testament to just your mentality. and just pushing through, man. You know, you also have kids that you got to take care of. You got another full-time job.
Yeah. And that was always, you know, first and foremost in my mind is like, hey, how am I going to, because I mean, I was a captain, right? I was doing well. I was doing very well. I had this, you know, set income. So all my life choices were based around this amount of money I was making. And I was like, okay, I either have to maintain that or improve upon that, because I'm not going to, you know, because I had this quality of life for my kids, you know? So that was what was always driving me. I mean, and I think, I guess if you want to get like real corny, man, everyone just needs to find that one. It could be different for everybody, you know. It could that one thing that is like that will not allow you to fail. And just for me, it was my children. You know, it was my kids. I have 3 now. I have 2 little boys and a beautiful stepdaughter. And just providing for them things that I, you know, never had was my driving factor. Like that's why I hustle today. You know, like that's what got me through the dark stuff. I was like, okay, it's going to be okay. Because even though I feel like shit and I'm back here in this room crying by myself right now, I'm going to dry my face. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to play with my kids for a little bit, you know? And that's what got me through that.
Yeah, dude. You know, I also don't think you're alone. And you touched on this at the beginning, but like, and actually a few minutes ago, like we haven't seen each other face to face in a very long time, but you probably haven't seen many people face to face in a very long time besides B, like when he was riding. That's another reason why we're starting this. And I think it's going to be very helpful to everyone, man, because, you know, overcoming that type of adversity alone on top of everything else that you're dealing with, and, you know, on top of the family, that is stifling, dude. It can be. And, but you're a success story, dude, coming out of that.
Well, I think it helps, man. I think what you're doing is beautiful. And like you said, it's been a long time since I've seen some folks here and there, you know, bumped it. I saw Luke's not too long ago. I saw Joe Larson when he graduated from Sergeant Major's Academy. He came and stayed at my house for a little bit. And like, I just hugged that man and I did not want to let go, dude. Like, I was like, I miss you so much. You know what I'm saying? like please just stay at my house. Like, you know, cause now it's like, I do soccer practice and I do jujitsu. So it's like, I'm talking to the soccer moms and I'm just like, I just miss alpha shit. I just like, I want to hug you, dude.
God.
Like, you know,
it's just you, dude. It's, I'm going to let you go. But the greatest part about it is that you can be the goofiest idiot and just no one cares.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so you, and they know that about you too, because they know, okay, he's being an idiot, but like when it's, like we said earlier, when it's go time, I know what he can and has done. Right. So you can kind of, so that there's that underlying, you know, knowledge of, okay, Colin he's messing around and being goofy and being a moron. And he does some dumb shit sometimes, but like, he's a killer. Like, you know, so yeah. So I think that goes with, you know, without saying for many folks, but I think another thing,
Joe Larson too, Sergeant Major Larson.
Sergeant Major
You're not
Larson,
immune to this, man.
No, not at all. Dude, I know some stories. I won't ruin his career, but like,
yeah, he's funny as shit.
Oh, he's my favorite person in the world. For those of you who don't know Joe Larson, just imagine Mr. Clean with like Samoan tattoos and like just but I think he's from like Rhode Island or like Boston. So he's got like that, I mean, all you people up there in the Northeast have, I think in places where it's cold, I think you people are just like default a little bit meaner. You know what I'm saying? Right, it gets so cold, you know, like, but he just has that New England accent. He's a fucking savage. But I think for folks, if someone's listening to this who maybe hasn't been in the military or around someone that, you know, has been in the military, the transition coming out of them, imagine this. Imagine one day let's say you're a computer salesman, right? And you're sleeping peacefully at home in your bed. And then all of a sudden, one day at 3 a.m, there's a big yoked dude in uniform screaming in your face in your bedroom, and he rips you out. And then all of a sudden that day, you have to go be in the Army. That is the same level of severity. Like, and now imagine going from that to like, now I got to talk to Susan at HR because I said the F word at a PowerPoint. You know, you're like, what is happening? So it's the same it's the same traumatic experience. So for those of you who don't understand or who's like, it can't be that hard, dude, it sucks. And it would be the same thing if someone were to just yoke you from your comfortable life and put you in a crazy, uncomfortable situation. It's the same thing. I don't think that we do enough as a country to kind of, I don't know what the answer is. So this is, I'm throwing shade. I'm throwing hands without having the answer.
Sure.
But I don't think that maybe we don't fully understand the problem set, and the implications of 20 years of sustained combat and coming back. And then, now I got to go be a mechanic, like that. The psychological ramifications of that, I don't understand them, and I don't think that we do as a culture. So I think that's something, and I hope that's something that we can kind of start to improve on. But I think things like this, Mike, things like what you're doing here, this is an outlet, and this is an option. Like right now, I feel good talking to you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So, no, I hear you, and I'm happy to hear that. And you're 100% correct. And I don't know, man. I'm trying to. It's foundation. I'm going to try big time to bridge the gap, or we are essentially, and create the mold, man. Because you're right. This doesn't happen. There are a lot of organizations. Yeah, there's VA, but this doesn't happen.
Yes.
Gold Star families. This doesn't happen with all of us. Never does. I really pray to God that we can bridge that, man, because it helps everyone. And, not only you and I, the individuals, but, the masses and just the amount of people that are just going to watch this, even this show and just be bawling like, oh my God, I want that. But it's true, man. I remember, and I'm sure you've had these nights too, but I don't speak about this. Eventually I will, because this is very different for everyone. But I'm not going to dive into the labels, but I will say, like, there were times when I got out and, I didn't even want to go to work, man. And it wasn't because I didn't, like what I do or like or love the people around me. Like, obviously, yeah. And I have amazing clients, but dude, I'd be like on my treadmill and like, I'd be watching the TV, listening to music. And then all of a sudden I'd just be like bawling. And, I have to worry about my kids, my wife coming in, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? And this happens. Or it happened like frequently, man. And I think a lot of people have a very hard time. And then you also don't want to burden people with that. You feel like, I don't want to call it, dude, I'm going to burden them. So it gets internalized, and it is a freaking war.
Yeah.
That is, it's hard to fight, man.
I'd rather go back and fight in Afghanistan than fight that fight, man. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So I knew, just to kind of touch on that again, when I knew the last knee surgery I had. So basically what happened when I was in the Q course is like tear ligament surgery. And the last time it was so messed up, I felt it tear. It didn't even hurt. And I knew I was in trouble. Right. So like, and I went to my bathroom. I couldn't move my leg. I couldn't bend it. It was like kind of locked at like a, 45-degree angle. I knew it was gone. And I just started crying because I knew it was over. You know what I'm saying? I knew, and like I didn't, and I think that I was only a captain. I didn't get to do all the cool guy stuff I was hoping to get to do. And I was like comparing myself to my dad who did, 27 years and comparing myself to like whatever standards I set for myself internally. And I was like, I failed. I'm a failure. So I'm like crying and carrying that, carrying that burden. And then I get out of the military. And I'm trying to adjust and for the first time in my life, working with females, never done that before. Having to not say bad words, never done that before. Right. We have a dark sense of humor, right? It's a coping mechanism, I think.
Probably.
But that you can't sit at the table at lunch at work and be like, oh, just tell some of the stories that we've been talking about. Cause everyone's like, oh dude, that was terrible. Why would you say that? Yeah. You're like, no, it's hilarious.
Psychopath. Where do we go from here?
Exactly. So you don't want to burden them. Right. So you carry all that stuff, man. I think, I'm happy to say this on your show. So all of those things and that slow cortisol drip and the Army life, that eventually, whatever PTSD stuff you want, that kind of stuff,
Sure.
It was a strong factor in my marriage ending. I take a great amount of responsibility for that now in hindsight. At the time, I didn't see it. At the time, I didn't want help. I didn't need help. I attacked it like every problem you and I and people like us attack, like, hey, I'll just make it work. I'll just fix it. I'll just do, you know what I'm saying? I don't need anyone's help.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that just didn't work. I put an undue burden on her. Luckily to say, my parenting and my being a father was never like that. They were the lights of my life. Like, right. They are what kept me from, some folks go over the edge. They were what kept me on the lip, So they never got to see any of that darkness, but my ex-wife did. And, to this day, I apologize. Right. We're very, it was nothing crazy. Like, I don't want anyone to get the idea like, oh, Colin's, I put an undue burden on her with a lot of the things I was dealing with. I took a lot of things out on her, and we just kind of decided to go our separate ways. It's very cordial. Probably write a book on how to probably do it. So if you guys want to know how to do a friendly divorce, call me. Right? Maybe I'll start my own company. But co-parenting very well. But all that to say, when we first started having our issues, it was right when I got out of the Army. Right when I started carrying those, because when I was in, I was happy. I was gone. She had a break from me. I got to go away for 3 months to do this training rotation or go to this deployment or whatever. And she got to be like, all right, I'm going to chill out for a little bit. Colin's not here. Right. So when I got out, that's when we started having our problems. But when we started seriously talking about separating, I was like, okay, this is my fault. Right. I like to practice extreme ownership. Right. So regardless of whether it's all your fault or not, if you treat it like it is, you can make some improvements. So I actually started getting help, man. Started going to marriage counseling and individual therapy and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm here to say, I highly recommend that to folks who are going through any kind of anything. Like, just talk to someone, man. Whether it doesn't have to be a therapist. It could just be me or you or someone else, just get it out. Because when I started going, man, I just started seeing significant improvements in like my overall mood. Whatever that burden is that you're carrying, that little monkey on your back kind of gives you a little break, And I can honestly say today I am 10 times better off than I was 2 years ago when I was going through, the heyday of all this kind of stuff. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's really important for people to know too. Once we release this show, and we launch this foundation, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the amount of people that you help, and you help along the way with stories like that, man. And it's really the only way that it's like going to a therapist and they are a cardboard box maker.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. And you are a welder. It's never going to happen if they can't relate to an experience or at least a thought process.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. But a lot of these veterans and even these Gold Star families, like, it's going to help them heal, man. They want to know this. They want it. They want to hear these badasses talk, so to speak, in these heroic stories. Dude, I will. We're coming to the end of the segment, but I will allow you the floor for a couple paragraphs if you want to spew something out.
Yeah,
man. Missed anything?
I think we covered everything pretty well, but my primary concern right now, I mean, we talked about all the stuff that we did when we got in, but what's freshest and most important to me right now is helping folks that are going through some shit, whether it's you're getting out, whether it's you're a veteran who's been out for a little bit, but you're having a hard time with what happened in Afghanistan, how that was dealt with. Whether you're a Gold Star family who doesn't understand what your child died for because of what's happened. My primary concern right now is to in any way that I can, whether it's me just telling my story or working with you or whatever it is to try to alleviate some of that pressure and some of that pain. And all I can say is, like, talk to someone who is like-minded, who understands, who gets it, and then find something physical to do to just like, it could be a walk. I don't know what your physical limitations are. It could be a walk. Like I destroy myself in the gym. And that's the only way. Like that and jujitsu are the only ways that like, I am not an alcoholic. Right. So, or abusing drugs or doing whatever, so talk to someone, hunt the good, look at your kids, look at what's around you, see what's good in your life. And then, crush yourself physically. And I think if you can do those three things, I think you can kind of, reduce some of the things that you're going through substantially, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but so.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, man, that's great advice, dude. I think that's weighted in gold, as JC Callahan would say. I love that.
There you go.
But hey, man, thanks so much for coming on, dude. I love you, brother. Appreciate it.
I love you too. Thank you for having me, man.